Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Brent Sandee, the head football coach at Hudsonville High School. How's it going?
Good, Casey. How are you?
Doing well.
Good.
So how has practice been the last few weeks as you guys get ready for a clash with Howell?
Yeah, been really good. Kids are working hard. A lot of excitement. It's always a fun time of the year, as we just got back in school this week, yesterday actually, and just playing football, and everybody's excited to start the season with a home opener here on Thursday night.
Yeah, I know that you haven't had a lot. Yeah, I don't know. Remember the last time you guys have had a home opener, because I know you've been traveling all over the place. I think the last few years, if I'm not mistaken. But what's it going to be like to open game one at home?
Yeah, it'll be electric. I mean, the students here our student section is phenomenal. The community loves to come out and support football here, so we're fortunate that way. But yeah, last year we opened up at Saline. The year before that, we were at the Big House, and we were the home team there. So those 2 years in a row, and then the year before that, I think, was a COVID year where we opened on the road. So this is in 4 years. We haven't started the season at home, so this will be fun.
Yeah. All right. Now let's talk about some of the guys that are going to be returning and some of the guys to watch for the Eagles this year.
Sure. So we graduated a lot. We had a really strong senior class last year. We do have defensively. We have our safety back, who's a 3-year varsity player for us, Chase Cholik, and then one of our corners from last year, Jack Zeiderveen, who started all 9 games for us last year at corner. And then have an outside linebacker that's back, Davion Summerall. And then down low, where we kind of moved, we had a sophomore that started for us at the defensive line, and kind of moved him to an inside linebacker position. So he's a returning starter, but not in the same position that he was last year. I've coached for a long time. I don't think I've ever had a kid that moved back. Usually they kind of go from, the back positions, whether it be defensive back to linebacker or linebacker to D-line. So this was a unique circumstance with Ethan Carter, who's a kid that's put up some really good numbers in the offseason, worked really hard. So those are the guys back defensively for us. And then offensively, we have 3 offensive linemen that are back that, we feel like that could be a strong point for our team this year. Colton Hansen is our center, returning starter. And then we have a sophomore that started at tackle for us, Cooper Roberts, as well. And then Caleb Dunhoff was one of our guards last year. And then slot receiver that started as a sophomore for us last year, Carson Dykstra.
Yep.
And then we had a sophomore play H-back, but we kind of moved him to the defensive side of the ball this year as well. So we've got new running backs, new quarterback, some new receivers. So excited to see what those guys do. First taste of varsity football for a lot of our kids, though.
Yeah. Do you know who's going to be QB?
Yeah, Griffin Baker. So
okay.
He's been our JV quarterback the last 2 years. So our quarterback the last 2 years was all conference, his junior year and his senior year, was Trey Carr. So Griff has been, like I said, was pulled up as a freshman, but then because we had Trey coming back, he just stayed down at the JV, and he was our backup last year. Good athlete, though, so excited to see, for other people to be able to see what he does on the football field at quarterback.
For sure. All right.
Yeah.
Special teams, where we at there?
Yeah, so our kicker's back. He was a sophomore last year, Ian Munoz, and he's put a lot of time into it last year. He shared soccer and, kicking for the football team. This offseason, he kind of gave up soccer and went all in on kicking. So excited about that. We've got a really good, it's nobody likes to talk about long snappers, but you got a 4.5-star kid as a long snapper, so that's good for him. He's one of our tight ends for us too, great athlete. And then we'll have a Carson Geisey as our punter for us too. So, yep.
Hey, you've had a pretty good few long snappers in your day coaching.
Yeah, it's kind of kind of one of those niche things that, some kids here like get into it a lot and get some training and work
Yeah,
hard. And so yeah, our long snapper. He's a great athlete. I coach wrestling too, and he's been a varsity wrestler since his freshman year and
yeah,
varsity lacrosse. And then he's an athlete too, not just a snapper. So which is good.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Now we've talked about the kids. Let's talk about the schedule. Of course, coming before I talk about the rest of the schedule. Of course, you are also part of the when the KLAA announced out on the east side of the state that they were going to have a bunch of teams, and of course, Howell is coming all the way to from Livingston County to Hudsonville.
Yeah.
What was that like to get a good team like that coming in
Yeah, no, I
Hudsonville?
mean, a few years ago, when we were in the playoffs, Brighton was a team, I believe, in the conference as well.
Yeah, I was at that game.
Yeah, knocked us off the playoffs there. Very good program. I know it's really
Yep.
good football you could play over there. So it's excited to, play another team from there. We haven't played too many teams from that conference in the last 10 years or so,
Yep.
outside of that Brighton game. But no, we're excited to, play somebody for us that's going to be different and let's see what we can do over there.
Yeah. All right. Of course, that game will be at Hudsonville, as we mentioned earlier. Week 2 on August 24th. August 31st at East Lansing to start week 2. And then we get into OK play. September 8th, home against East Kentwood. September 15th at Grand Haven. September 22nd at Granville. September 29th, home against Caledonia. October 6th, home against Holland West Ottawa. October 13th at Jenison. And then finishing out the regular season October 20th at Rockford.
Yeah.
Pretty good schedule. Always a tough it's always tough in the OK conference, especially in the OK Red.
Yeah.
What's that going to be like on playing some really, really good teams?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like last year there's maybe 3 of our teams that could have, challenged at the state title level, and of course Caledonia did. Rockford had beaten them earlier in the year to win the OK Red, before Caledonia lost to Belleville in the state championship game last year. And I think Granville could have made a run too had they not had to get out of the Rockford Caledonia district. So I thought it was really tough last year. Those 3 teams, East Kentwood was a team that beat Brother Rice last year too, and they had very talented team. Just again had a tough time in the red. So I think I mean our conference. There's not a week where you get to exhale.
No.
And their non-conference games are the same. Get a chance to play Howell and then East Lansing, which I think lost in the regional finals to Forso Central, that wound up taking second in the state as well. So our non-conference games are going to be tough too, just like the red is. So but we kind of sell the kids on that. We give them like, hey, you get to play the best football in the state of Michigan, against the best teams, great facilities with the biggest crowds. It's something that they look forward to, and we do too, and try to yes, iron sharpens iron, as they say, Casey. So we're excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Really, of course, only a couple more days before the season starts. Really, what have you seen in practice, and really just talk about some of the things you kind of need to do to get to go 1-0 week 1.
Yeah. So I mean, I think Howell is probably a similar team to us. Watching their 4-way scrimmage, they seem very physical up front. I think they look like they're running the T in the 4-way scrimmage, and looking at their athletes that they have, I think that probably suits them pretty well with, when you've got a cornerstone that's a 5-star U of M commit there,
Yep.
find ways to make him impactful and bring him down and try to, win that edge. I think from everything you see, they're big and physical. So we'll have to match that physicality. I think that's the big thing is kind of controlling the line of scrimmage. And I think big plays are going to be difficult to come by in the game. So it's really going to come down to, penalties and turnovers and some of those things that kind of make or break drives, if you will.
Yeah.
If we were able to sustain some, 8, 10, 12 play drives and keep Howell from doing the same thing, getting a tackle for a loss on a 2nd and 8 type play and putting
Right.
them against the sticks, will be huge points for us. And then, the special teams will be big too in terms of field position. So yeah,
Absolutely. All right. Well,
those
Brent,
little things, yeah, that make up the game, Casey.
absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Brent Sandee, the head football coach at Hudsonville. Thank you so much for coming on and talking. And best of luck. Best of luck this season. Best of luck on Thursday against Howell.
Thanks. Appreciate everything you do, Casey. Have a good season.